What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Ring On Group with our fourth installment of Market Mondays. I hope everyone had a really nice Easter weekend. And for my friends that celebrated last week, happy Passover. We are diving into week four of, of Market Mondays, and we are looking at our first full week in April from April 5th through April 11th this week. As a reminder, you can follow the Ring On Group at the Ring On Group on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And you can also follow my personal account at cpaulgo below. If you have any questions or comments while we are live on the air, please drop it below on the Facebook comments and we'll try to address them while we're live. And if not, we'll circle back below. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this week's numbers. We've got some interesting things, and we've now started tracking closed sales. So that will actually be our last bit of information as we go through all the data that we have. As a quick reminder, we are looking at single-family homes in Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade counties. No age-restricted communities like 55 and over neighborhoods, and no distress sales, no short sales or bank-owned properties. It'll just give us a really nice tight set of data to look at. So the first bit of information we're going to take a look at are new single-family home listings. As you can see, you have blue for Broward, magenta for Miami-Dade, and purple for Palm Beach. We're looking at March 1st through 7th. I know it has the wrong date on the bottom of the graph, but if you look at the table, you have March 1st through 7th as our control before everything kind of started happening, and you'll progress down those weeks as we have studied these numbers. Between last week and the week before, we've had about a 20 or so percent drop across the board in brand new listings. So what is that saying? It means that people either don't want strangers coming into their house, they're not ready to sell right now. Maybe everything feels uncertain to them. But it also tells me that if you are in a position to sell and can sell confidently and have forward motion to either move to your new home or you have a plan in place, you could be creating some inventory in a market where we're kind of lacking some right now. And as you'll see in the next slide, people are still buying. So if you have a really great house that you think it's okay for you to sell, let's go ahead and move forward with that. We are now taking a look at new listings under contract in 7 days or less, which means last week they hit the market and they've already gone under contract within that same week. If you look back at the past 2 weeks, even the past 3 weeks, you can see that they've kind of hovered around the same numbers. So in Broward, we have 14, Miami-Dade 7, and Palm Beach 17. Those are homes that, again, went under contract that same week that they hit the market. And if we're going to take a look at now overall pending sales. So those are homes that went under contract last week, regardless of how long they've been on the market. Nope, that's not it. There we are. Single family homes that went under contract. It's kind of stayed pretty even over the past 3 weeks. So last week and the 2 weeks prior, they've kind of hovered around. You do see a little bit of a drop last week in homes that went pending, but not too much if you look at the actual numbers. We have 129 single family homes, again, within our set of data that went under contract in Broward, another 93 in Miami-Dade, and 120 in Palm Beach. So people are still buying homes if you are financially able to do so. You have less competition out there, but you're also going to have a little bit less inventory. So again, let's try to bring the inventory back up here in these 3 counties. The last figure we're going to take a look at are active properties. Now, we are looking at things on a week-by-week basis, so I think it is also important to see how many properties are on the market for anyone that is looking for data outside of that 1 week range. So in the three counties, we have just over 4,000 in Broward, which is actually an uptick from our inventory last week. And in Miami-Dade, we're hovering around the same amount at just over 3,900. And in Palm Beach, just under 5,000. So that shows that homes may have come off market, may have gone under contract, but overall, nothing too shocking there. We're going to now take a look at. Oh, nope. There we go. Sorry for this. I didn't put the slides in order, so that's my bad. Second to last thing we're going to take a look at are homes that have been taken off the market. As you can see, and as I mentioned last week, there was kind of a peak when everything started happening where you saw people bring their homes off the market, but that's kind of tapered off now, and we're about 4 to 5 weeks into it. So you do see a drop in homes that have been withdrawn from the market, meaning the sellers are going to hold off for the time being. 75, 64, and 64. So that's all last week. And the reason for that, I think, is because if you've come on the market recently, you already know what you're dealing with and you're less apt to pull your home off the market. I think you see the spike and the tapering off because this is for people that have before the lockdowns and quarantines and restrictions started, they had placed their home on the market during that period or maybe weeks or months before, and we had a big spike of people doing that. Let's go ahead and take a look at this interesting number. So I wasn't tracking closed sales over the past few weeks because if you had gone under contract in February or January or any time before everything started happening in March, then you most likely still would have closed within that 30, 45, 60-day period. Now that we're a few weeks into this, I think it's now important to start tracking the closed sales. So let's go ahead and take a look at this graph right here. You can see that yellow mark. That's approximately 30 days out from when things started tightening up here in South Florida. And you can also note there that our typical closing period is 30 days. So you see that third week in March, that last week in March, and that overlap with March and April. Everything looks pretty steady there as far as closings. If you look at last week, you see a huge drop in closings, a 51% drop in Palm Beach, 44% drop in Miami-Dade, and a 64% drop in Broward County. And why is that? It's because homes that have gone under contract over these past few weeks have been a lot lower. So we've had less homes that have sold. Therefore, we've had less homes that have closed. And I think those two numbers correlate to one another, and it's very interesting to see that big drop there. That's probably the biggest change we've seen out of everything we've been tracking, and we're going to continue to track those closed numbers over the next few weeks. I'm going to drop a link below to a kind of interesting Realtor.com article, and it talks about should I buy during the coronavirus crisis. And it's interesting because I don't know if anyone saw the segment on CNN with some financial analyst saying, don't buy, buyers shouldn't be buying, yada, yada, yada. I think you can't blanket the entire country with one statement. Every single market is different. Everybody's situation is different, and you can't predict tomorrow better than you could predict 6 months from now as far as where things are going to go. That's why we, again, are tracking this on a week-by-week basis. So in the article, which I don't have pulled up, coronavirus crisis, that I now have to Google live because I was not prepared, it talks about it pretty much gives you an essential guide to help you decide what you should be doing during this crisis if you are perhaps looking at purchasing. One of the highlights that I want to point out is the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, said that the coronavirus is leading to fewer home buyers searching in the marketplace, as well as some listings delayed. I think that's pretty obvious based on the data that we've been tracking. It doesn't mean that people still aren't looking online, whether your choice of a website is realtor.com, Zillow, Redfin, what have you. So that's kind of stating the obvious there. But what they've found is that 40% of real estate agents have noticed a decrease in buyer interest. Again, I wouldn't blanket statement the entire country there, because I just put a condo under contract this past weekend. I had a home in Coral Springs under contract last week and a home in Boca Raton just before that. So again, it's really going to depend on your personal or family situation in terms of buying. Even Ryan Serhant in New York from $1 Million to New York was quoted saying, "This is the best buyer's market I've seen in my career." So there's kind of a little bit of varying opinions here, but as far as this article goes, I'm going to again drop it below. And even with economic concerns aside from the real estate market itself, Roger Ma was quoted, and he's a New York-based financial planner, saying, "Recession or not, it's impossible to time the market, whether for buying stock or buying real estate." Meaning, people will say, "Is it a good time?" Honestly, you have to take everything into consideration: your personal finances, your job security, the climate. The good time is never gonna light up a sign that says, "Hey, it's a good time to do so and so." So you've really got to take a look at all the data and all the information you have and make the best decision for yourself as possible. So that's it for this week. I know it's a little long-winded, and I was prepared, but then I wasn't, because the time caught up with me really quickly. But I'm going to drop these charts below in or above in a post, depending on what you're looking at. And you can also revisit all the other weeks, as well as see the data on our website at ringonhomes.com/MM. That's for Market Mondays. If you have any other questions, give me a shout. Till then, see you next week. Oh, wait, almost forgot. We are doing a giveaway. So with everyone stuck in their houses, I know that we're working on some projects, and other people have decided to tackle some home projects. The first of our series of giveaways is going to be the Ugly Wall Contest. So you'll see the details posted later on today. If there is this just hideous wall in your house, or maybe it's a blank wall that you've been wanting to do something with and you just haven't found the time to do it, or are lacking some inspiration, or maybe you have some leftover design from a previous owner that you just really want to tackle, we're going to drop some details below. You just got to tag a few friends, tell us what you want to do with it. We're going to help provide you the funds to go to Home Depot, get some paint, Target, so you can find the decor that you want, and even include a fresh floor arrangement from one of our local vendors. So I'm very interested to see everyone's walls, and hope we can help someone make a little bit brighter space in their home in the next week or so. So keep an eye out for details. And now, until next week, I'm Paul. See ya.